What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Hardwood Convos podcast here on the 515 Podcast Network. I'm Brock Bierman alongside Dawson Livingston and Chase Winterbore and Hunter Rose, and we are here to talk a little NBA hoops as Christmas basketball is coming up. We also are going to recap some of the biggest news throughout the NBA over the past week involving contracts, championships, MVP candidates, and impressive performances throughout the league. Dawson, before we check in on our duo that are on the same camera, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing good. One of the better times in this year for sports. You got the playoffs going on in college football. NFL is getting real close to the playoffs. NBA Christmas Day games are 2 days away as we're recording, so really pumped.
And you get your Chiefs on Christmas as well, so you get
all
all the sports on Christmas Day. Chase, I guess, is Chase to the left of us, or is Hunter to the left of us? On the name, it looks like Chase is on the left. On our
sorry, Brock, I'm not like.
Sorry, no, I'm just
sorry.
No, chill. I was just kidding. Chase and Hunter, how are you guys doing?
I'm kind of pressed right now. Actually, is how I'm doing. No, I'm just kidding. Doing good. I'm just excited to get a day off from work. So, it's always that time of year where you finally get some days off. Like Dawson said, though, a lot of great sports going on right now. Football is kind of getting in the playoff mode, and basketball is kicking up. So we're doing good.
And Hunter, making a trip back to Iowa for the holidays. How are you doing, my friend?
The Milwaukee Bucks are NBA champions. Do not let the Boston media fool you. The Milwaukee Bucks are the real 2024 NBA champions. You heard it here. Yeah. That's how I'm feeling.
Well, that will do it for the Hardwood Convos podcast here on the 515 Podcast Network. No, I'm kidding. I guess the biggest news really in the NBA this week is the Milwaukee Bucks winning the in-season tournament NBA Cup. Impressive performance last Tuesday. I'm not going to lie. I didn't get the chance to watch it. I had to ask you guys before the podcast, and it sounded like all three of you guys did get to watch it. So what stood out to you in the Milwaukee Bucks' effort in order to get the actual victory and getting the second ever NBA in-season tournament championship?
I feel like I'm too biased, but I guess I could start. I mean, everything kind of went right. Part of it too, the Bucks have kind of had, I don't want to say they've had OKC's number, but I mean, SGA has not beaten Giannis ever since they've basically played head to head, I think since 2019. So that's kind of a thing. But overall, I mean, Andre Jackson Jr., just showing his overall defensive capabilities as it's kind of been growing ever since last season. A lot of Bucks fans knew, like, kind of during the season that he had a lot of upside, especially on the defensive end, but it's actually able to show it at a national level, which is good. I mean, OKC's just not big enough to guard Giannis at the end of the day, so it's kind of going to be almost impossible regardless to keep him from scoring. But I mean, that's why every time Damian Lillard sees that stupid OKC logo, he just decides to turn into prime Steph Curry. So, that just happens too. But I'd say those are probably the biggest things. Bobby didn't ruin the game for us somehow, even though he really did try for a little bit. So
he had a plus 13 in the plus minus category.
We don't talk about that stat, Brock. We don't talk about that stat. But yeah, overall, OKC on their side of the ball, they just couldn't shoot. SGA wasn't able to do anything past Ajax, and so there's nobody to create outside of him. There's not much they can do. So
yeah, I mean, what a performance by Giannis. I feel like this is a great game that may be looked back as the launching point to Giannis's next MVP, depending on how the season pans out. 26 points, 10 assists, 19 rebounds, 2 steals, and 3 blocks, all in one game. An impressive performance. Damian Lillard, like Hunter mentioned, plays Oklahoma City really well, usually 23 points, 5 of 10 from behind the arc, 6 of 7 from the free throw line. Also tallied a couple assists and rebounds. And, hey, you mentioned it, I think, last week or a couple weeks ago. Brooke Lopez also had a decent performance as well at 13 points, 9 rebounds. Dawson, what did you see from this matchup? Potential finals matchup, really, if you look at it. There is a good opportunity that these two teams play each other again in the postseason at some point. Do you really think this is more of a bad game for the Thunder, bad matchup for the Thunder, or was this just Milwaukee's chance to like really come out and show that they aren't necessarily that team that everybody thought they saw at the beginning of the season?
I think it's more about Milwaukee. I mean, like we all saw the start of the year. They did not start off well. I don't know the exact record they had when they first played their first few games, but it wasn't great. We were all skeptics of the Bucks when the first season first started. But last Tuesday, shout out to the boy AJ Green. I'm gonna keep bringing him shout outs until he totally has a bad performance. Went 3 of 5 from the 3-point line, which gave which is what the Bucks needed off the bench, along with Gary Trent, who also had 13. Like, this was just a good game for the Bucks. Yeah, the Thunder didn't shoot the ball really well. They only shot 33% from the floor and only 15% from 3. But I think this shows that Milwaukee, even with their bad start to the year, is still one of the top teams in the East.
Who would have thought that AJ Green would be the guy off the bench for the Bucks outside of Hunter, the guy off the bench that would be getting the most minutes for the Milwaukee Bucks? It honestly, like, what was he drafted? He was undrafted, right? Undrafted signee for the Bucks. Played in the G League. Was a 2-way player, I think, last year, if I remember correctly. Now, he's on a full-time contract with the Bucks now, right?
Oh.
And he's actually playing some really good basketball, which, I mean, all of us have seen him all the way back in his high school days. He's a really good basketball player. And the fact that he's finally getting an opportunity and with a team that potentially could use him as an asset as we get closer and closer to later in the season. So credit to AJ Green, credit to the Bucks for really seeing the talent in him, because he's not necessarily a player I feel like a lot of teams would look at, but they give him an opportunity and he's not letting them down for sure based off of his performances. Looking at this, obviously we talked about the MVP, or I hinted at talking about the MVP candidates. We might as well jump in a little bit with this. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in that game had 21 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. Giannis had that triple-double. Are those two the front runners, or is Jokic still the leader of the way for the MVP based off of, because that's what, like, everything I've seen, and maybe it's again the media that is pushing it.
The Boston media.
Yeah.
I highly doubt it's the Boston media in this one. But who would you guys pick right now if the season ended, biased aside, to win MVP?
I'm going Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I do not have a gun to his head. He said that of his own volition.
I did.
We all saw it.
I did. I'd like to apologize for not picking him at the beginning of the season.
Who all picked him in the beginning of the season? I think was it just me?
I think it was you.
I think it was just
okay.
You.
Hunter, who did you take?
I picked Luka.
Oh, yeah.
What a stupid guy.
No, honestly, I didn't remember. I knew I took Giannis. I couldn't remember if anyone else did. But Dawson, are you taking Giannis right now in this situation?
I'm taking Donovan Mitchell. No. Jokes aside, Giannis. Giannis thus far, plus my bias towards Jokic, I think Giannis has been the best player in the league.
I mean, like what he's done to turn around. I know he was on the Bucks to start with, and they had a really bad couple of weeks. But like what he has done to help get them to turn around this quickly already, because there are teams that start that bad and just continue to get worse. At Philadelphia, So when you're in that situation, you're bottom of the league heading into the second month of the season, and you're like, what do we do now? And you look at your star player, there's a good chance, depending on who they are, that they may already be, they've already sold their stock on this season. The season's over, blah, blah, blah. Might as well just look towards the future. Giannis is not that guy. Obviously, he's made it clear that he wants to win as much as possible, which is why I have so much respect for him versus some other star players in the league. But 15-2 now, the Milwaukee Bucks are competing towards the top of the Eastern Conference now as we speak. And yeah, the Thunder are 22-5, but you look at the Denver Nuggets 15-11. They've kind of always been in that middle of the pack Western Conference. They haven't had necessarily this impressive streak that I would consider, the Bucks having over the last couple of weeks, or at least over the last month, including the NBA Cup championship. So I would give it to Giannis, honestly, because I think Denver would still compete for a mid-tier, lower-tier Western Conference bid. I truly believe if Giannis wasn't on the Bucks right now and they had that slow of a start, they would be a lot like competing for a top pick in this year's draft. No, and this is no disrespect to the Bucks. That is just how good and how big of an impact I think Giannis is having on this franchise, and still is having on this franchise.
Yeah, there's some certain people on Twitter who'd like you to not watch NBA basketball. Instead, look at these magnificent graphs and charts to tell you all about how by combining the VORP, LeBron, and this dude made up his own stat. This guy made up his own statistic to prove why Jokic was the MVP. He made it himself. I don't know how small brain you have to be fooled by that, but somehow it's worked. All you have to do is watch a game, and you have to see, there are, offensively, there are 3 players in the league who impact a team's offense as much as they do. And it's not saying that other, obviously each offense has a certain player that is always going to be at the central identity of what they try to do on the offensive side of the ball. There's only 3 players who can get to a certain level that no other players can currently reach reliably. And that's Jokic, Luka, and Giannis. And only one of those guys is doing the same exact thing on the other side of the ball. Only one. And that's Giannis. Nobody's scared of no Luka protected perimeter. Nobody's scared of no Nikola Jokic paint. But everyone's terrified to see Giannis Antetokounmpo in front of them when they have the ball.
That's something people forget. Defense does matter in the NBA. I'm tired of this idea that the NBA doesn't play defense. It's all just 3-pointers, which, I mean, you look at the stats, the amount of threes that are being shot in this generation versus others is crazy. But still, at the same time, defense does matter. And that just, I feel like, and we've had this conversation, the offensive game right now is so elite that the defense sometimes doesn't get the credit it deserves. And when you have players like Giannis who are actually playing on both ends of the court and making a huge impact, I feel like it goes unnoticed, unappreciated, and sometimes untalked about in terms of who are the best players, who are competing for certain awards. And because he is a two-way guy who might be top of the Defensive Player of the Year awards, don't know if he'll win it, but he'll be in consideration for that award come the end of the year. And I can guarantee you that Luka and Nikola Jokic won't be in that conversation come April through June, whatever. You get what I mean. But we'll see what happens. I am happy that I bought Giannis MVP stock early on, as it looks like it's starting to pay off. But we'll see if that continues to go on here as we get closer to 2025, man. I can't believe that the new year is pretty much next week. We have 2 championships crowned this past calendar year, both teams of respective members of this podcast, which is great. But best thing about the year coming towards an end is that we get our Christmas Day NBA games, which I don't care what people say. It still is cool, and it matters to me. I always pay attention to the NBA during Christmas time. I wish they would do a little more which, I mean, they try to do a little bit of rivalry action. 76ers Celtics is a game. Lakers and Warriors. I don't know if Chase, do you consider Lakers Warriors a rivalry, or do you just
Oh,
kind of?
yes.
Okay, I didn't know if there
100%,
was an
dude.
actual rivalry, or if it was more of just a good matchup.
Oh, no, 100%, dude. Warriors fans, dude, make me so mad. I don't know if I ever told. Sorry, quick story time. When I was out in Vegas, when was it now? Was it 2 years ago? It's kind of crazy to think about. I literally watched game 2 of the Western Conference semifinals right next to a Warriors fan at the casino.
Ew.
That was not fun at all. Most obnoxious dude I've ever been around in my life, man. Oh my gosh, yeah. It was not fun. So I hate the Warriors. I'll tell you that.
So I guess it's a rivalry then. If
Yes, no, I
based
hate
off
them.
of that. But Celtics, Sixers, Lakers, Warriors are kind of rivalry games. The other ones, not so much. Spurs and Knicks will be a good matchup. Timberwolves, Mavericks, and then Nuggets, Suns. Before we get into the actual matchups themselves, what are you guys thinking about? Are you guys excited for these, like the overall slate that we got this year for Christmas games? Are you going to be tuning into these games in the first place?
I'm watching the Chiefs.
Yes,
Just kidding.
That's so gross.
I am watching the Chiefs
That's
before
a
any of the
different
other games.
podcast.
I'll be tuning in, but I'll be upset that my glorious humble king won't be playing. So
I thought LeBron is playing.
other one.
That's mine.
Oh,
That's my sunshine.
I said humble king.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Let's clear things up here.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. One of the matchups obviously includes the New York Knicks, who last week Karl Anthony Towns played against his former team, put up 32 points and 20 rebounds. Where are we at in the opinions of this trade that has happened between the Timberwolves and the Knicks? I, for one that wasn't thinking this was a good trade for the Timberwolves whatsoever. And this performance from Karl Anthony Towns just kind of proves it a little bit. I also think that Karl Anthony Towns has actually had a really good season compared to what maybe people were expecting. But what were your guys' thoughts on Cat's first performance against back in Minnesota, I guess?
Yeah, I'm still hopeful for my maybe the Timberwolves' future will be better take, but I really wanted to defend them, but that combined with like Ant's comments about like just in general with the season so far has not bode well for us Timberwolf believers post 2024 playoffs. No bueno.
Dawson, where are you at with this?
I'll start with the Knicks. Dude, when the Knicks are on, their starting lineup is arguably the best in the league. They're the most versatile in the league. When they get Mitchell Robinson back, they'll be great defensively. But the T-Wolves right now, it's just bringing me bad vibes. Like Hunter said, that Anthony Edwards' comments make me a little concerned about the T-Wolves. But I just think I still don't understand why they fully made that trade. I know it was to save some money, and I get that Julius Randle's had an okay year for Julius Randle standards, but you kind of broke up that nucleus that you had that made the Western Conference Finals and kind of threw guys in like Randle, like a guy like DiVincenzo, who hasn't played well at all this year shooting-wise. I think he's shooting like 33 or 34%. So yeah, it didn't really a whole lot of sense to me why they kind of broke up that core.
It's so unfortunate that for the Timberwolves, at least, that they traded this guy thinking that they were going to be able to get a bunch of assets out of it. And now this guy is probably, I would say, the leader. Well, if this was an old-fashioned all-star game upcoming, he would be the starting center probably for the Eastern Conference based off of his performances this year. I mean, he's number one in rebounds per game at 14, which is an impressive number. Probably would expect that number to probably go down here just because, season usually pans out and numbers usually end up evening out. But right now he's playing some amazing basketball. The Knicks are playing some really good basketball as well. They're going up against the Spurs, who have a young star in them of their own, and Victor Wembanyama, who's averaging almost 25 points a game, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists. How are we feeling about Wembanyama's sophomore campaign in the NBA? and overall what the Spurs are kind of doing right now. Do you see a future where the Spurs are going to be able to compete with Wemby, or do you think they've got a little ways to go before we can consider them being a contender?
I still think contender might be a strong word, but like the unfortunate part of the NBA is when with a player like Wemby, he's not had a bunch of national games. I think he's only had 3 national games so far this year, and that might be including the one that's coming up in 2 days, or around Christmas. What he's done, even like in the last 10 games, his stats are insane. I also saw this is his second year in the league. He has more blocks than 91.1% of NBA players in NBA history, which is insane. That wild. But like I think him having Chris Paul specifically this year really, really, really helpful. Stephon Castle has been like a sleeper rookie of the year pick, low key. Been really, really good, and he's been pretty rough in like some games, but like that's expected to be with the rookie. But he's been playing really well in a handful of games. And so I think especially like if they're able to get, I don't know, I don't think I'm a Keldon Johnson believer by any means. So like if they can get like a couple like even just defending wings, you know, you could almost recreate almost the idea of like what the Bucks have right now, where it's like give the ball to Wemby, get 4 shooters around him, and that's all you need. They do something like find some guys that can play defense and shoot the ball at least better than average. They'll be fine.
Did you see the stat about Victor Wembanyama and hitting career threes?
I don't think I've seen that one.
Victor Wembanyama hit 200 career three-pointers faster than these players: Stephen Curry, James Harden, and Ray Allen.
I do remember. I did see that because he didn't have more than Dame. That's all that matters to me.
But aren't those guys one through 3?
2, 3
in career makes and three-pointers? So, granted, I don't know who is the fastest to get to 200. I think it might actually. I'm trying to see here. It is him. Never mind. I was gonna say. I've looked at some other players like Jonathan Isaac hit it pretty quickly too, but like now.
Jonathan Isaac.
He's a legend, dude. Bubble
Who would have
legend.
thought that we'd be talking about Jonathan Isaac on the podcast here in 2024? But I'm excited. I hope that the Spurs can actually become somewhat of a contender. I do think they're one of those teams that, like, when they're good, the NBA is usually fun to watch. Like similar to Milwaukee over the last decade or so, when they're really good, it's fun to watch in the NBA. Obviously, when you get the blue bloods of the Lakers and Celtics playing competitive basketball, it's fun to watch. But having the Spurs, I feel like they're one of those teams too, just because it gets that Texas market a little more interested. I don't know if would you guys probably consider San Antonio being Texas's main NBA team if there would be one? Or at least over the last 25 years, probably. But I don't know. I just know from growing up, when the Spurs were good, it was always fun watching the NBA playoffs because you never know what they're going to do. Obviously, Popovich has had some health issues, so who knows how much longer his career is going to go. So when he retires, maybe that'll change my perspective on what the future of the Spurs may look like. But with Wemby at the helm and the leadership that Chris Paul is bringing a young group, I think that this team is at least setting themselves up for a better future. Not necessarily, I know I mentioned contender when we were setting this up. I'm not expecting them to be contending in 3 years for a championship, but if they can make some good moves, there could be an opportunity where maybe they are that team that's 1 or 2 pieces away from building a legit title contending team. So going back to that game with the Spurs and the Knicks, Knicks are favored by 8.5. It's in New York, Madison Square Garden. Are you guys going to take Wemby or are you guys going to take Cat?
I probably will take the Knicks to win that game, but I think it's going to be an entertaining game. Yeah, the Knicks just have too much firepower for the Spurs, and I just, like you said, I just don't think the Spurs are quite ready enough to compete at the highest level. But who knows? It could be a good game, but I'm going to go with the Knicks.
As much as I would love to see Christmas in New York ruined, I'm guessing the Knicks will win and probably cover the spread even at that. So, yeah, like Dawson said, crazy things happen in the NBA sometimes. But if I were to make a safe pick, I think I would say the Knicks would at least win by like 9 points, 10 points.
Would this be your most confident pick of the slate for that?
I don't know if I'd go that far yet, but,
Okay.
but we can build momentum to get
Okay.
there.
Sure. I'm gonna go Knicks probably as well. Because both these two guys are really smart, so I'm just gonna copy them. So I'm gonna go Knicks.
I want the Spurs to win, so I might as well just take the Knicks too. so
There we go.
we all take the Knicks.
Yeah.
Good job. Excellent.
I would love to see a Victor Wembanyama legacy game in Madison Square Garden, because when you
Electric.
like he's the star that I feel like no one's talking about this year. Last year he was the brand new shiny toy that everybody wanted to talk about. Obviously, this year it's just kind of like, oh yeah, he's still doing great things. He's doing amazing things. Now that he's on ABC, Christmas Day, Madison Square Garden, this is a great opportunity for him to literally reintroduce himself to the NBA world, basketball world. And I think that's the game as well that Disney is doing their animated game as well. What is that called again? I'm trying to remember what it was called. Shoot. Do you guys remember what the game is supposed to be called?
I saw it earlier and I forgot.
I thought you were gonna make fun of the Lakers right there. I was about
No. I think it's supposed to be called like Dunkmas or something. Dunk the Halls. Dunk the Halls is what it's called.
Nice.
Where they're gonna have animated, similar to the Simpsons broadcast they did with the NFL, Nickelodeon-esque type stuff, but with Disney characters. There's rumors that LeBron will get another ring. There's your joke, Chase. At the end of this.
I was waiting for it.
Are you guys going to tune into it at all? Are you guys going to just at least take a peek, or are you going to let social media fill your feed with the highlights from it?
1,000,000% watching.
You are?
Oh yeah. There's gonna be so many memes out of it. It's gonna be great. I want to see Goofy Wembanyama dunk on somebody.
That's great. That's great. Dawson, are you going to tune in? Well, I guess you're going to be watching the Chiefs, so who knows?
Well, the Chiefs doesn't start till noon, I don't think. So I'll probably tune in for a little bit. With these creative random broadcasts, I think it's always funny. Like with the NFL one, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago? It was the Simpsons. We know about the SpongeBob one.
Shout out Ralph Wiggum for getting that TD touchdown, by the way.
But yeah, I just think I'll have to tune in for a little bit, but I think it's gonna be fun.
I think it's cool. It's a great way to get the fans involved, especially with, we all know the NBA is struggling with ratings this year, which, Dawson, you don't know about this, but I went on a rant with Hunter and Chase about a couple hours ago. We were at B-Dubs getting dinner, and I just went off on why it doesn't make sense to me why there is a big gap in viewership this year compared to years past, but yet literally the same game is being played by a certain player in a different league, but that's considered generational. So that's all. I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to get on a soapbox about this. But next game on the Christmas schedule, we have the Timberwolves and the Mavericks. Luka Doncic, a player that Hunter and Dawson, I think, both picked to win MVP, versus Anthony Edwards, who we mentioned has had a couple of comments about his team's performance this year. Where are you guys at in this game? Dallas is favored by 2.5. It is in Dallas. Who do you guys have in this one?
I'll probably go with Dallas, just because, again, bad vibes in Minnesota right now. Can't really trust them. And plus, Dallas has been playing pretty good basketball as of late. Like what Luka's doing. I like what Kyrie's doing. So, yeah, I'll probably take Dallas in this one.
Do you want me to go next?
Yeah.
I think I'm probably going to be a square this whole whole podcast, by the way. But I think I like Dallas here. That's why I'm not promoting sports betting, but I think 2.5 might be my favorite play of this Christmas Day. Actually, to be honest,
Oh, really?
really, yes, really. So I love the Mavs here in this spot. That's just me though.
You know, I'll go against the grind to not jinx any picks for later. I'll say T-Wolves.
Thank you, Hunter.
I'll say T-Wolves. You know, I do think this will be. I mean, heck, this is a repeat. You know, to Western Conference Finals. So that's the fun matchup we get to see there. But sorry, I just saw a Vikings fan in Lambeau. I just about had to puke. But you know, I think. Hopefully, yeah, should be an entertaining game. Definitely will be a close one. I would hope. I think the biggest thing is like who, you know, are they going to be able? Are the T-Wolves going to be able to kind of like almost have a rebranding of like, you know, last year they had their tough defense, one of the best defensive team in the league. You know, they're able to recreate that to slow down, you know, the obvious very talented backcourt of the Mavericks. I think it's a pretty good shot of it. And especially, you know, I think the big thing too could be if Gobert can do anything offensively, which is a bit of a struggle and a stretch to say, but if he can, you know, I think he can probably slow down Derek Lively, you know, because as much as I love Derek Lively, those two guys that's not the marquee matchup offensively we're all looking for. But if he can get an edge, I think that should help out.
Anthony Edwards had 37 points last time these two teams matched up, and the Timberwolves still lost by 6 points. Kyrie had 35. Luka had 24. I mean, stats. There's some stars on this team, both sides, that are going to be able to put on a show. I just don't think there's enough that the Timberwolves can do to stop the Mavericks. I do think it might be a good, close, entertaining game, maybe around that 5 to 7 point margin. I'm not a fan. I've been saying it all year. I'm not a fan of this Timberwolves team, so I'm going to go Mavericks on this one. Before we get into our biased teams, let's go over to the 9:30 matchup: Nuggets and Suns in Phoenix. The Nuggets are 15-11. Suns are right behind them at 14-13. Jokic averaging almost 31 points, 13 rebounds, and almost 10 assists. And you got KD averaging around that 27-point margin and around 7 rebounds. Where are you guys at? Because I know Chase and Hunter aren't big fans of either of these teams. This might be a screw it, I'm not watching this game after all these amazing games on this NBA schedule. Who do you guys got in this game? Denver's favored by 1.5 on the road, so that might be an interesting thing to keep an eye out for. But is this going to be a Jokic MVP type game, or are we going to be looking at KD and the Suns getting the dub?
I think this is going to be Michael Porter Jr.'s audition to be traded. I think this is his game. He's going to shine just so that he can get traded come February. I think Phoenix is going to win this game. I know that Phoenix has been struggling, but I cannot in my heart pick Jokic. I do not like that man. For that reason, I'm going to take Phoenix.
Yeah, 100% unbiased opinion here. I'm going to take the Suns. Don't let that Boston media fool you once again. Jokic just about lost.
Where is this Boston media thing coming from? Did I miss something on social media? Like, what did I miss?
No. There just has to be, you know, something has to get tagged on to the biased media. So we're just going to go with Boston because we hate Boston. But yeah, no, the healthy Nuggets in Jokic almost lost to the Pels. And we all know where the Pels are at right now. And it's rock bottom. All right. They had to have a CJ McCollum air ball in overtime to win the game. So, you know, I'll take the Suns. I think, gosh, there's going to be like 150 points scored on each side, I think, in this game.
Hit the over.
Zero defense. Yeah.
The over. Yep.
Over-under's at 234.5 points.
Cool. Slamming that over. Please and thank you. 120 on each side at least. But yeah, I would imagine high scoring game. I'm gonna go with Phoenix. I think I really just don't bias aside. I just don't trust this Nuggets team. They're just so weird, and I don't know what to even put my finger on with it. Because heck, if Jokic can put up 43, 15, and 13, and then they still can lose a game or almost lose a game, it's how? Who is on your team? And then you look at the team and it's well, it's guys that should be producing and they're just not. So I can't pick them ever.
I think I'm probably going to roll with the Suns here as well. I do think that line is a little weird why the Nuggets are favored here. But I think the Suns get it done at home. I probably won't be watching this game since Chase has to work in the morning. So hopefully you guys wake me up to some good news. But I think I'm going to go Suns as well.
Damn. Why are we all picking the same teams?
We're all knowers.
We're all smart.
I was ready to pick the Nuggets, but then I saw that Phoenix pretty much is going to get their entire team, if not most of their team back that are on the injury report right now. I think Devin Booker's supposed to be playing Christmas Day, and I think Jamal Murray is supposed to get back in the lineup. So for the Nuggets, so this is going to be a star-powered game, or at least name-wise. There's going to be a lot of players that are recognizable for some people. I still think that I'm going to take the Suns, though. When it's a who has the best offense type of game, usually I will probably take the Suns because there's not going to be much defense on either side of the ball. Watch out for KD to have a good game. And hey, Nurkic isn't a terrible center. He can probably compete against, at least make it a little difficult for Jokic. You can't shut the guy down, but at least make it difficult.
Former Denver legend, Yusuf Nurkic.
Yes, sir. All right. Last two matchups that we're going to talk about here. 76ers and Celtics in TD Garden in Boston, 9.5 spread for the Celtics. Celtics obviously are coming off of a loss on this one. As we're recording here on a Monday, the Celtics just lost by 4 points against Orlando. 76ers on the other end are also coming off of a loss if they're not playing tonight. I don't think they are. Or actually, no, they just won. Just won against the 70. Yep,
Embiid and Drummond got
Spurs.
ejected.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Drummond got ejected, then it got reversed because of a flop, and then a technical foul was called for that flop on Wembanyama, if I remember right?
Yep.
And then Embiid got tossed, right?
Embiid got tossed because he was, you
being
can
Embiid.
He was doing. Doesn't take a genius to know it, but it's something weird with the ejection on Drummond. So
this is a 2-day turnaround for Embiid, so who knows if he's actually going to play. Sounds like Tatum is going to be back in the lineup. I don't think he played this last game, if I remember correctly. Yeah, he didn't play against the Orlando Magic. Where are you guys at with this one? Celtics come out with a victory, or are the 76ers, who have been struggling this season, going to come out and steal the W in TD Garden?
There is no realm, no possibility, no world that the Sixers beat the Celtics. If that happens, Brock,
clip that.
I will never let you hear the end of it. Please clip it. I'm that confident in Philly not winning this game.
Now I don't want to pick this game.
Yeah. So I'm putting the pressure on you, but no, Boston is clearly the better team. Philly has so many injuries right now. Who knows if Embiid actually plays? Obviously, Jared McCain being out for indefinitely is going to suck for Philly because he was easily going to win Rookie of the Year. But for those reasons, Boston's going to win this game by at least double digits.
do not let the Boston media fool you, okay? Never again. Don't let them do it. The 76ers will emerge victorious. Jared McCain will rise from the ashes. It's not going to. It's Celtics by a gajillion trillion points. It's going to be a JV game by the third quarter. So it's going to be so bad.
Wow. Was 9.5 your favorite bet?
That might be, honestly.
Okay.
It actually might be. The fact it's not 18 at this point, I don't even know.
I hate you guys hyping this up.
You want me to pick the Sixers for you?
No, pick who you want. It's free country.
Brock's gonna pick the Sixers to hedge his emotions.
Bro,
Yeah, he is.
Don't let the Boston media.
Yeah, don't let him fool you.
Don't let him do it.
Yeah. I'm probably just gonna go Celtics. No explanation. So
Yeah.
Celtics.
yeah.
If Yabusele gets a sick dunk, though, we'll be seeing it.
Shout out Gershon Yabusele, Celtics
What
legend.
a legend.
Legend.
Oh my gosh. All right. Final matchup on the Christmas Day schedule, or I guess the final one that we haven't talked about yet. 7 o'clock, 76ers. 76ers are not 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock. They are 4 o'clock. 7 o'clock is the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors in San Fran at the Chase Center. MVP candidate Anthony Davis is averaging almost 27 points a game, almost 12 rebounds and 3 assists. Steph Curry, though, is still doing Steph Curry things, right around 22 points a game, 5 rebounds and almost 7 assists. Golden State favored by 3.5. I mean, Curry's had some great performances on Christmas Day against LeBron. We've seen a lot of LeBron and Steph Curry matchups on Christmas Day, and I feel like that's more of a rivalry than I would consider Lakers and Warriors. No offense, maybe, and I'm not trying to like cause any issues. I think that
You are.
Curry and LeBron just have a bigger rivalry history than Warriors and Lakers in
That's
terms
fair.
of competitiveness. Because pre-2012, Lakers probably killed, or most of the time killed the Warriors and everything.
Yeah.
And then when Curry became Curry, Lakers were going through their phase of rebuild. So it's just now becoming competitive. But now you got Curry and LeBron. So who you guys got? You got the MVP candidate in Anthony Davis. I'm only calling him an MVP candidate for one reason only. Or you got Steph Curry and the Warriors.
Saying MVP candidate Anthony Davis is like saying, I don't know, almost 10-fingered Manhunter Rose. It's like that you're stretching it way too far over here.
You're doing good, Brock. I love you.
So you're
It's like
going
those-
Warriors, Hunter?
It's like I know I'm keeping this tangent going now.
Yeah,
all right?
you
I'm
got Warriors,
keeping this
Hunter. You got
tangent
Warriors?
going now. I don't know. I do want to pick the Lakers, I think, just because, dude, it's impossible to not talk about this either. If you did not see anything about the stinky game between the Grizzlies and the
Yeah.
Warriors, and don't get me wrong, game was definitely an outlier. Those games impact the team nonetheless. That I think just kind of shows, honestly, especially since the hot start that the Warriors have had, kind of shows like how they've kind of gone since then. Obviously, recently acquired Dennis Schroeder, hopefully will help out a little bit. But yeah, I think especially if the Lakers are healthy this game, I think I would probably go with LA stealing one in San Fran.
Dawson?
There's no way that my sunshine is going to lose this game. He always tries way harder than he needs to on these
God.
Christmas games. And for that reason only, the Lakers are going to win this game.
Nicely said, Dawson. Nicely said.
Yes.
You already know who I'm picking. I am a little afraid though. Dennis Schroeder might just go off for no reason against his old team.
German legend.
Yeah, German legend. I am a little afraid of that. I won't lie. But yeah, I'm taking my Lapuki to get it done. So
Come on, Brock, pick the GOAT.
Just because of calling him Sunshine and Lapuki, I'm going Warriors. Just because of that.
Thank you for saving us. Perfect.
Plus, I also have taken all the home teams. So there's no way all the home teams win, right?
No way.
There's no way, right?
No way all the favorites
No way.
win, and no way all the home teams win.
Yeah. And no way Giannis wins MVP, right?
No way.
No way.
No way.
No shot.
Before we sign off here, we got about 15 minutes at most left in this episode. We wanted to talk a little bit of some other things going on in the NBA. More specifically, Hunter, do you want to give us an update on the Orlando Magic curse?
Oh my gosh, dude. Man. So there I was, witnessing Hilton Magic up against the Morgan State. And my phone vibrates. And I look, and it's Twitter. Shams. Alert. what could have possibly happened? Breaking. Moritz Wagner, the Orlando Magic. Timeout. Hunter Brain. Oh, a trade? Like right now? That's a little weird. Keep reading. Tears ACL. Oh. Don't get me wrong. I do not like Mo Wagner at all. He's a punk. He's a phony and a fraud. But man, he's been on the Magic for a while now. But for it to happen to the Magic right now, like after all, like before, the Paulo and Franz stuff have been like, oh, shoot, like a key rotation guy. That sucks. Now it's like, oh, like their fourth best player, which means like their third best player right now is now hurt. Oh, great. This team's gone downhill. But I mean, they beat the Celtics, so who knows where they're at now. Stuff.
Oh man.
But yeah, dude, it is hard, as if things couldn't have possibly gotten harder for the Magic, I guess this happened to the Grizzlies last year too, but like, golly, this is bad.
Yeah. Is it gonna get any worse at this point? Can it get any worse?
Yes.
Somehow, some way. Everyone's just got to be like wrapped in like packing tape at all times. Do not step out of your homes without this shoulder pads and helmet and everything.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. It's just a rough situation for a team that I think all four of us really enjoyed, and we're kind of hoping that they would compete or at least be somewhat competitive throughout most of the year. We'll say that going back to a team that is competing really well, Alex Caruso signed a extension with the Oklahoma City Thunder. It was for 4 years. Let's see. I can't remember how much it was. 81 million? 81 mil for 4 years. For a guy that probably everybody remembers when someone goes, oh yeah, Caruso did this last night. Not that Caruso's bad. He does a great job for the Thunder. It's just that stat sheet wise, he's nowhere near an all-star. He's nowhere near a third option of a team, a title contending team. So what are your guys' thoughts on Caruso receiving an $81 million contract from the Oklahoma City Thunder?
Former Laker.
He deserves it. He's the greatest Laker I've ever seen in my life.
True.
No, I think I was telling you, B-Dubs, I like it, man. I really do. I think his defense, dude, like, obviously everyone knows his defense is good, but when you seriously, like, you watch the games, like, he has a huge impact on the defensive end. Obviously the offensive end, I don't know. I know he's been working on shooting over the years. It's not great. But like the Thunder, they got plenty of options though. So I don't know. I like it. Maybe it is a little bit of an overpay, but I think it's definitely deserved. So probably a little bit of bias too. So those are just my thoughts.
Yeah, I agree too. I also think like these contracts now are just the number I see. I always go like, this person doesn't deserve it, and then I see that there's someone that's worse than them still getting paid more. So the contracts in the world of sports, not just the NBA. I mean, good Lord.
Juan
Soto.
That is an overpay. Sorry, I'm getting off track now. That is an overpay. Goodness.
We're going to be 39, Chase, by the time he is no longer under contract with the New York Mets.
That's
39.
That's crazy to think about.
24. That doesn't make any sense.
No sense. Yeah.
I'm still going to be broke when I'm 39.
Yeah.
This is BS, man.
True.
And it's the MLB, so it's fully guaranteed.
Yeah.
That's it. If I have a kid, man,
get them into the batting cages immediately.
Yes.
Baseball.
Forget
it's
walking.
fully guaranteed.
You're swinging a bat before your foot goes in front of the other.
First half of the day is going to be baseball. Second half of the day, it's going to be kicking and punting.
There we go.
True. You're either going to make tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in baseball, that's fully guaranteed, or you're going to make a little over $1 million punting the football.
True.
Yes.
So,
or you could be Blair Walsh. Almost some.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 2-in-1 pod, baby. That's a new
Yes, sir.
Like here.
Anyway, though, back to Caruso.
I mean,
I don't know. I like the guy. I think where I'm curious, I'll have to look some more because I think it happened yesterday, if I remember right. So I'll have to look and see kind of what the Thunder cap space looks like now. Before it was kind of like, oh, it's a big deal because like they have all this cap space, youngest team in the league, just for the 1 seed. What are they going to do? They've kind of filled that up. I feel like at this point with iHeart and Caruso, and not a whole lot else. And so I'll be interested to see kind of what this kind of looks like, especially for next year, as they'll be competing for a few years now. But how can they continue to improve their roster? But I think, overall, his defense isn't a secret to anybody. Obviously there's been a lot of hate on Lou Dort potentially being a dirty player, but to have him and Caruso on a team together is kind of crazy, and to have that locked down now for a little bit might be like, oh wow, look, crazy defense. On the other hand, might be like, oh, could Lou Dort be on a different team? At some point, because now all of a sudden, obviously, if they can work things out, they can work things out. But now that you have somebody filling the same role, maybe you look somewhere else. So I think that's what I'll be most interested to see is how will this affect, especially next year, and years to come.
for sure. Hunter, last couple minutes of every pod we give to you. So
Maybe
your wise words of wisdom heading into this Christmas week.
What's he got here?
I don't remember. Yeah. Okay. So we can't just skip over it again. We have to revisit this, but don't you forget that your 2024 NBA Emirates Cup winner, the Milwaukee Bucks. And I've said it since I was a child. I've waited for this moment my entire life for the Bucks to win the in-season tournament ever since I could speak. All right. Golly is what I would have been waiting for. But yeah, Giannis is the MVP. Don't you forget that. But on the other hand, I mentioned it earlier, if you even have the chance to go watch the Grizzlies and Warriors game again, please do. Because golly, thank you for your service, Tony Snell meme of 0 points in like 24 minutes. New contender Draymond Green has arrived because holy cow, the dude did even worse. I think he had 0 points, 0 for 4 shooting. But it's Draymond Green. Surely he did something else, right? No rebounds, no assists. Dude literally did nothing, I think, except foul and turn the ball over, which is incredible considering he was talking mad garbage on Zach Edey. And I'm not defending Zach Edey, by the way. It's just ironic that he was downplaying him and then got babied. The third, I don't really have anything third. Let's watch some Christmas hoops, because the third thing is actually that the NBA is a Christmas holiday. Don't let the Boston media fool you.
Don't let the Boston media fool you, but we had to pause because of another technical difficulties. I swear that's just going to be, we're going to have to rename the podcast. But Hunter, continue on your Christmas Day.
Enjoy Christmas, but don't let the Boston media fool you. Christmas is an NBA holiday. It is not an NFL holiday. Get that football pigskin garbage off of my screen while I'm trying to open my presents. I want to see dunks. That is all.
Great. Anything you guys doing for fun for the holidays?
No. Hoops.
True.
I know I'll be seeing Dawson tomorrow at our
Yes, sir.
family Christmas Eve
Yeah.
event, where I steal gifts from people that I may or may not like, depending on how they treat me that day.
Are you guys going to talk about this generational Jordan Love Toyota-thon we're seeing once again?
Probably.
Good.
Yeah, we actually probably will. Well, it's against the Saints, but
Toyota-thon. It's not just
Hey,
this game.
Brock, I thought you were a Spencer Rattler guy, dude. You can't be poo-pooing on the Saints.
well, yeah,
True.
they ain't,
Yeah.
it's similar to Caleb Williams in Chicago. They ain't giving him the tools that they need to be able to be successful.
Really not. They were not saying you had the best wide receiver room and best situation walking into it.
See, so then we should
any
be,
other first overall pick ever in NFL
let's not poo-poo on Spencer Rattler. Let's poo-poo on Caleb Williams.
Why not both?
Yeah.
You know who we should be poo-pooing on? These guys.
The poor Cardinals.
Trash.
Garbage.
The Grim
Garbage.
Reaper right tongue found you, ending your playoff chances.
Every
They
year.
They were in Brock's top 5 power rankings not too long ago, I might add.
A month ago.
A month ago. That's still.
Hey,
They were in 2 weeks, weren't they?
Yeah, because they had a bye week. I planned that. It worked out perfectly to have a bye week. But I would like to apologize to Cliff Kingsbury for saying that you're the reason that the Cardinals have a second half of the season slump. It must just be the bye week for some reason. Because now I looked back at when they had the bye week and that 7-0 start, and it's starting to make all sense of the world of why their second half slump started.
Tyler finally started playing COD again.
I don't know. He might be into the OG Fortnite or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
That would add up with how bad it's been.
I mean, Black Ops 6 did drop not too long ago.
Yes, sir.
Just want a freaking playoff team. That's all I ask for.
Nope.
It's so freaking hard.
No, you will be 7
The
and 10.
1
you
year
will
the
like it.
49ers are trash.
That's tough.
Unlucky, man. Don't know what to tell you.
I'll just go watch the Celtics.
Just rewatch some Celtics
Yeah,
playoff run
watch
highlights.
Yeah, there you go.
highlights.
All of our teams have won their respective championships. I don't know if you noticed that. Brock's team won the
True.
finals. Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Dodgers won the World Series, and Hunter's Bucks won the in-season tournament.
True.
The
So,
most
True.
important tournament in all of
Yeah.
sports. I've been saying it for years.
That might
Biggest
be the
sporting
most.
event of
That
this
might be the most
century.
participation of the podcast. Participation medal of like, oh yeah,
Hey,
all of our
no.
teams did win a championship.
Brock, don't talk about the NBA Finals that way. I promise the Celtics winning was a big deal. But now we remember who the real
Not as big
champs
as the
are.
NBA Cup,
It's
though.
fine. Winning at the start of the year is much harder than winning at the end. Everybody knows this.
Yep.
And only 4 teams make it as opposed to 10. Golly, that stupid play-in. Disgusting.
Oh, I love this podcast. This is so much fun. All right, boys, enjoy the holidays. Enjoy Christmas. Enjoy NBA basketball, not that pigskin poo-poo
Yeah, don't let
crap
the
show.
Boston media say otherwise.
That should be the Kansas City media, but
Whoa,
Them
whoa,
too.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh.
Don't be poo-pooing on the Chiefs now. 14-1. Don't be poo-pooing.
yeah. I don't know what kind of soul that you sold, but at some point it's coming back.
Nope.
Bite you in the butt.
Nope. It's not real.
It would be funny if, like, the first time ever the Vikings get over the hump and they beat the team that had all this voodoo magic of ways to win, and then it comes
Dude,
back and bites them in the butt.
Don't even say that, dude, because I've been poo-pooing on Sam Darnold all year.
He has been. You guys don't know. He
Dude,
has been
I've-
crapping on the Vikings this whole season.
Hunter
If
was
Sam
like,
Darnold beats my team in the Super Bowl, I'm going to take a couple months.
Why are you talking
absence
about
from the
Sam
pod.
Darnold? How do you know it's not Danny Dimes?
Is JJ McCarthy going to play there too? Like, are we just going to have all the Vikings quarterbacks playing the
All
Super
of
Bowl?
them.
Yeah,
Blair
throw-
Walsh is going to make a special appearance, make the game winner.
throw a 40
Kirk Cousins going to come walking out of the tunnel.
out of the chair.
No, Kirk Cousins has played his last game in the NFL. But I don't know how we got into this NFL tangent, but enjoy Christmas. Enjoy the games. Enjoy the Dunk the Halls or whatever it's called. By the way, that NBA ESPN commercial that they tried to recreate is absolutely terrible. I think we touched on that last week, but make sure to tune into the Sports Nerds. That will be up a little later today on Tuesday, December 24th on Christmas Eve. For Hunter Rose, Chase Winterbore, and Dawson Livingston, I'm Brock Bierman. We will see y'all next week.